Good evening, you're now with me, Lorenzo Isaac, for TVS Nightline. Here are the headlines for tonight. The United Nations call for immediate opening of Gaza ports for urgently needed aid. Philippines to upgrade outposts in disputed South China Sea. Pahang region TENGKU HASSANAL arrives in Sarawak for a 5-day visit. Three United Nations agencies, namely the World Food Programme, WFP, UNICEF and the World Health Organization, have collectively called on Israel to grant access to the northern port of Ashdod in Gaza. The purpose is to facilitate the crucial delivery of humanitarian aid essential for Palestinians. In a joint statement, the agencies emphasized that this delivery is critically needed, marking a fundamental shift in the flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza.
The agencies also stated that delivering food and essential supplies to the besieged population of Gaza facing a growing risk of famine is contingent on establishing new entry routes into the territory in the future. Thus, opening the Ashdod port would significantly reduce the time it takes to deliver aid to the Gazans. Previously, the US-backed Zionist regime granted temporary approval for the transportation of aid into Gaza through its southern Karim Shalom border crossing for the delivery of supplies following weeks of advocacy and pressure. The Israel-Hamas war, which now has passed 100 days, has resulted in a humanitarian catastrophe for Gaza's 2.4 million people, who are grappling with severe challenges in accessing food, water, fuel, and medical care.
The Philippines will continue on its effort to upgrade outposts in its territorial waters and acquire more ships to push back against China's growing assertiveness in the disputed lines of the South China Sea. The Philippine military chief, General Romeo Brawner, stated that the nation intends to enhance and upgrade the island's facility, including their outposts and other distinctive features.
Approximately 9 reefs and islands in the Spratly Islands, situated in the South China Sea, host outposts belonging to the Philippines. The general said that T2 and Nanshan Island are included in the areas where enhancements will be made, involving the installation of desalination machines and communication equipment. However, Brawner clarified that the plan does not encompass fortifying the Sierra Madre. This refers to the deteriorating World War II vintage ship intentionally grounded on the Second Thomas Shoal by the Philippines Navy in 1999 to assert the country's territorial claims. Previously, Beijing asserts nearly the entire South China Sea and has disregarded a ruling by an international tribunal stating that its claims lack a legal basis, which has made relations between China and the Philippines worsen over a series of incidents involving vessels from both countries.
The region of Pahang, TENGKU HASSANAL Ibrahim Alam Shah Al Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al Mustafa Billah Shah arrived in Kuching today for a 5-day official visit to Sarawak. TENGKU HASSANAL's arrival at the Kuching International Airport was welcomed by Sarawak's Deputy Energy and Environmental Sustainability Minister, Dr. Hazlan Abang Hibni. Also present to greet TENGKU HASSANAL's arrival was the Deputy State Secretary Administration, Dato' Baklan Bange, and several other dignitaries. A packed itinerary awaits as TENGKU HASSANAL is scheduled to visit several locations, including Petroleum Sarawak Berhad Petros, Menara Sarawak Energy Berhad SCB, Menara SCDC, and the Semenggor Wildlife Centre. He is also expected to visit the Borneo Cultures Museum tomorrow before attending a state banquet, which will also be attended by the Premier Sarawak, Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg. TENGKU HASSANAL's second visit to the state will be part of the Pahang delegation mission to study Sarawak's comprehensive green energy efforts. The wearing of school uniform by students symbolizes a sense of identity and pride for the institution. Sarawak Teachers Union STU President Kulin Dijayang said while many schools in developed countries have omitted the use of formal wear, the practice of wearing school uniform instills respect and discipline among students from a young age.
The practice itself, Jayang said, upholds Malaysia's high values and ethics.
Mungkin ramai masyarakat yang melihat ia sebagai sesuatu yang remeh atau konservatif berbanding dengan negara maju. Namun kita harus ingat sejauh mana mentaliti masyarakat kita khasnya pelajar berbanding dengan mereka. Jadi kita harus akur dengan adab budaya kita terlebih dahulu dalam membentuk generasi baru agar mencapai mentaliti yang bertaraf dunia.
He added STU maintains its stance on the matter and called on the government to preserve the status quo, noting that if the issue stems from a hot weather or a conducive class environment, the government should instead focus on improving the school facilities. Previously, the Ministry of Education MOE said that it is gathering views and inputs from all relevant parties regarding the school uniform guidelines for students to school.
A total of 2,026 teenage pregnancies were reported in Sarawak last year, marking an increase of 6.6% when compared to 1,536 cases in 2022. The State's Minister for Women, Children and Community Welfare Development, Datuk Sri Fatimah Abdullah, said of the total cases, 60.1% or 1,218 cases involve unwedded teenagers.
And then remaja berhenti sekolah sebelum hamil. We also this is another thing that we found out. 58.7% berhenti sekolah sebelum hamil. Maknanya tidak tu sudah berhenti sekolah. They are dropouts already. And this is important for us so that the same time we focus on students who are still in the school system, we must also not forget about those who drop out. They are in the community and they are the ones who also contribute to the statistics, iaitu hamil and at a very young umur masih muda.
She said this after chairing a one-stop teenage pregnancy committee or STPC meeting at Wisma Bapa Malaysia on Monday. Fatima explained that 3.2% or 64 cases involve school dropouts, followed by 33.5% or 678 cases of teenagers who have completed their studies, and 1.6% or 32 cases of teenagers who never attended school. In an ethnicity breakdown, she said the highest number of cases were contributed by teenagers from the Iban community with 50.2%, followed by Malays at 22.3% and Bidayos at 7.7%. According to Fatima, Sarawak used to see a reduction in teenage pregnancies between 2020 and 2021 at only 476 cases, believed to be due to the movement control order followed by the COVID-19 pandemic. This decreasing trend, she said, is supported by the research findings from the University of Malaysia Sarawak, UNIMAS, which observed promiscuous acts as the #1 leading cause of teenage pregnancy.
Pergaulan bebas. Now remember when I mentioned just now, waktu COVID, bila pergerakan terhad, remaja tak boleh keluar, ibu bapa pun sendiri pun tak boleh keluar, semua orang tak boleh keluar, pergerakan terhad. And we see a declining trend. That is a message to us. Pergaulan bebas. Bebas antara remaja dengan pasangan, luar, dalam rumah itu sendiri. So this is also something that is quite worrying.
Therefore, Fatima said OSTPC, through the Sarawak Social Development Council, is planning social programs and interventions in 2024 to address the issue of teenage pregnancy in Sarawak. These include Sexual Education Awareness and Advocacy Program, CAPS, in secondary and primary schools, the Social Development Rundown Program, OSTPC Strategic Partner Management Sessions, Wacana Minda, management session with specialist hospitals, community leaders, as well as sharing in infographics, snapshots, and digital content.
Americans have chosen Sarawak as one of their preferred second homes through the Sarawak Malaysia My Second Home program. Deputy Minister of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts Sarawak, Datuk Snowdan Lawan, highlighted that this decision stems from the state's political stability, dynamic and business-friendly economic market, which are attractive to both local and overseas investors, thus providing the ideal location for foreigners looking for a second home.
According to Snowden, Americans will feel very at home in Sarawak as the population is multiracial, multilinguistic, multireligious, and multicultural with thriving, colorful traditions. Speaking during the Asian Festival held in Arizona, United States, he pointed out that the Sarawak Malaysia My Second Home program allows foreigners fulfilling certain criteria to stay in Malaysia on a 10-year renewal pass with multiple entry visa. Additionally, approved participants are allowed to purchase a residential house in Sarawak at a minimum price of $140,000, which is equivalent to 651,000 ringgit. The purchase of the house is also exempted from the Foreign Investment Committee's approval.
The Ministry of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts MTCP Sarawak is proactively identifying and safeguarding traditional musical instruments belonging to the state's 34 ethnic group. Its Deputy Minister, Datuk Snowdan Lawan, said it is conducting a comprehensive study to complete a detailed database on Sarawak's traditional musical instruments within the next 2 years.
According to a press release, the ministry is actively involved in safeguarding the heritage of Sarawak, while concurrently promoting the creative industry of the state. The ministry's recent visit to the U.S. serves as a valuable networking opportunity with the state of Arizona, which is also dedicated to protecting its 36 ethnic groups. The globally acclaimed Musical Instrument Museum in Phoenix, celebrated for its remarkable collection of musical instruments from around the world, boasts a staggering 7,500 instruments from over 200 countries. In addition to the Musical Instrument Museum, the delegation explored the Arizona Natural History Museum, Idea Museum, and Mesa Arts Museum. Recognizing the pivotal role of exhibition design and presentation in delivering an engaging and effective visitor experience, Snowden and his delegation engaged in an insightful discussion with museum management teams. These exchanges covered the latest trends, best practices, and challenges faced by museums, contributing significantly to the enrichment of knowledge and practices for the ministry.
Hospitals in Sarawak, especially those in rural areas, require urgent attention from the federal government on the provision of dialysis machines and centres. Deputy Health Minister Datuk Lukanisman Awang Sauni said the current government healthcare facilities are overcrowded due to the lack of private health sector providing dialysis services in rural areas.
Taking Kapit Hospital as an example, he said there are patients forced to seek dialysis at Song Health Clinic due to the lack of space and the number of dialysis machines available at the hospital. He added that there are 64 patients needing dialysis in Kapit, but that number is too many for Kapit Hospital's dialysis unit to handle, causing some of them to be sent to Song Clinic, which is located about 52 kilometers from Kapit, to undergo dialysis. The installation of additional machines could not be done due to insufficient space, and to provide a larger space, the allocation of development funds is needed for that purpose. Meanwhile, he said Sarawak has been allocated 19 million ringgit to upgrade health clinics under the Bitara Madani program this year, and of that figure, 2.7 million ringgit will be used to upgrade 6 health clinics in Kapit Division, including Nanga Ibau, Nanga Bena, and Nanga Nelinau.
Coming up right after the break, seller loses 70,000 ringgit over investment scam, and the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living seizes 1,437 fake goods. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back. In the ongoing effort to combat dengue, the Cabinet Committee to combat dengue has put forth a proposal today to expand the Wolbachia-infected Aedes mosquito release program to 10 new localities. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi announced that an annual budget of 4 million ringgit is required to fund the operation.
Program pelepasan nyamuk Aedes berwolbachia, ini pendekatan yang terkini, telah dilaksanakan, bukan yang terkini tetapi yang terpaling berkesan sehingga kini, melepaskan nyamuk Aedes berwolbachia yang telah pun dilaksanakan di 32 lokaliti melibatkan 7 negeri bermula tahun 2019. Dari ini sebanyak 19 lokaliti telah lengkap 2 tahun 6 minggu dan penilaian berkesanan menunjukkan penurunan denggi 45% sehingga 100% berbanding sebelum pelepasan nyamuk berwolbachia ini. Nyamuk berwolbachia ini adalah nyamuk Aedes yang punya bakteria namanya Wolbachia, yang menjadikan ianya dapat mendominasi kumpulan nyamuk yang tidak berwolbachia itu. Jadi Jawatankuasa Kabinet mencadangkan perluasan pengoperasian nyamuk Aedes berwolbachia melalui penambahan 10 lagi lokaliti bagi pelepasan nyamuk Aedes berwolbachia yang memerlukan dana sebanyak 4 juta setahun bagi menampung kos operasi.
Ahmad Zahid highlighted alarming dengue statistic from the previous year, with 123,133 cases, an 86.3% increase from 2022, and 100 deaths due to dengue-related complications, compared to 56 cases in the previous year. This was conveyed by Health Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad on Monday, announced several key initiatives in the fight against dengue. The Cabinet Committee proposed expanding the Wolbachia initiative to new localities and urged local authorities to adopt this strategy. Additionally, community cleanups involving various stakeholders will commence this year. The committee decided to strengthen resources through collaboration with government agencies, non-governmental organizations, and government-linked companies. Resource capacity will be boosted through external sourcing activities, including spraying and larviciding for dengue control and prevention.
A 38-year-old online seller in Pahang was tricked into investing in a non-existent investment scheme and lost more than 70,000 ringgit last week. In a statement, Pahang Police Chief Datuk Sri Yahaya Ottoman said the woman received a text message on January 10 about a Bitcoin investment scheme and promised lucrative returns. The victim proceeded to withdraw her savings as prompted by the suspect and made 25 online transactions to 7 accounts for the supposed investment. She finally realized that she had been conned when the investment did not give any return on her bank account. The case was reported on Sunday, January 14, and members of the public are advised to be vigilant and not be influenced by any investment scheme that promises instant lucrative returns. Suspicious contacts or messages can be verified at the website shown on the screen, semakru.rmp.gov.my. The Ministry of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living, KPDN, crippled a syndicate that sells various fake luxury goods after raiding a terrace house in a high-end area located in Nibong Tabau, Penang on Monday. According to the state's KPDN Director S. Jagan, a total of 1,437 of fake goods were seized, including handbags, wallets, bracelets, perfumes, and blankets worth 70,000 ringgit. The operation also arrested 4 individuals aged between 23 to 31 years old for further questioning.
Itulah yang unik di kes ni adalah lokasi yang dicari ni. Dia lokasi ni seperti tuan-tuan perempuan tadi fahamlah kan, kesukaran untuk kita nak masuk pun kena maklumkan nombor rumah dan guard akan telefon nombor rumah tu, confirmkan dan dia benarkan, baru guard di depan akan benarkan kita akses masuk lah. So kita pun menghadapi kesukaran lah dalam seminggu ni untuk betul-betul make sure sebelum ambush pagi ni.
Upon further investigation, Jagan said buyers wanting to buy the fake goods were asked to bid to acquire the item during a live online session.
Tadi ikut yang untuk kita punya siasatan, dia pernah pergi mencecar kadang-kadang satu barangan tu bernilai sehingga 1,400 lah. Ya, dia akan bermula daripada berapa 50, dia akan ikut. So dalam tempoh dia go live pun dalam seminggu lebih kurang 3 kali, dan setiap kali dia go live dia dapat dalam lebih kurang 5,000 lah hasil.
Berapa lama dia beroperasi kat sini tu?
Di tempat Eco-Medov ni dia maklumkan baru 4 bulan. Tetapi dia beroperasi sebelum ni di Parit Buntar, dan dia bertukar lokasi kerana ya, dan dia mencari lokasi.
The suspects, which include a married couple, paid a monthly 1,800 ringgit rent and turned it into a store and studio. The case will be investigated under the Trademark Act 2019. If found guilty, individuals can be fined 10,000 ringgit for each of the forged items, or jail 3 times, or both for primary offence.
The Malaysian Government Call Centre, MyGCC, previously under the Malaysian Administrative Modernisation and Management Planning Unit (MAMPU), is now under the helm of the Ministry of Communications. Its Minister Fahmi Fadzil said that the transfer was due to the agency's crucial role as the primary communication channel between the government and the public to obtain information and to lodge complaints.
He added further that My Digital Corporation, which was under the Ministry of Economy, has also been transferred to the Ministry of Digital. Meanwhile, other agencies such as the Malaysian National News Agency, Bernama, Tun Abdul Razak Broadcasting and Information Institute, IPTAR, Information Department, JAPIN, Broadcasting Department, National Film Development Corporation Malaysia, FINAS, Malaysian Communication and Multimedia Commission, MCMC, and My Creative Ventures are still under the Ministry of Communications. Previously, the Department of Community Communications, JCOM, was also transferred to the purview of the same ministry. Commenting further on MyGCC, Fahmi reiterated that approximately 955,867 transactions were managed by the call center last year across various platforms, with 99.26% attributed to telephone calls. Fahmi has urged the MyGCC team to investigate enhancements to communication processes, which includes exploring the integration of AI, artificial intelligence, to leverage platforms beyond traditional voice calls, such as WhatsApps and others.
And on to world news. Comoros in the East African country voted in a presidential election on Sunday, with incumbent Azali Assoumani saying he was confident of victory and the opposition claiming electoral fraud. Several opposition figures on the Indian Ocean archipelago had urged voters to boycott the poll, in which 5 candidates are standing against 65-year-old Assoumani for the top job.
The vote count began in the evening after polling stations closed, sometimes by candlelight as in La Coulée, a northern district of Moroni, and other heavy police surveillance. Full results of Sunday's vote are expected to be published during the week. Earlier in the rain-drenched capital, several polling stations faced delays and opened after the scheduled 7 a.m. start. Assoumani, in power since 2016, extended his time in office through a controversial constitutional referendum in 2018 that removed presidential term limits. Suspicions of election fraud emerged due to the late publication of voting lists, with opposition leaders saying many people were left unsure where they were supposed to vote. An estimate 300,000 Comorans have emigrated to France, but once again they were not allowed to vote in the presidential contest, despite the promises of the authorities. According to the World Bank, remittances from diaspora total over 20% of the archipelago's GDP in 2022. Assoumani's first came to power in a coup d'etat in 1999, returning to power in 2016 elections. In recent months, he has made a series of promises, pledging better roads and hospitals.
Heavy flooding hit Mauritius on Monday as it braced itself for tropical cyclone Bala, which authorities warn as dangerously approaching after hitting the French overseas territory of Reunion. The Mauritius Meteorological Services said in a statement that a cyclone warning level 3 was in force and advised the public to stay in a safe place with torrential rain conditions expected. It said the cyclone was about 170 kilometers west of Le Morne, which lies on the southwest of the island, and was moving east-southeast at a speed of about 12 kilometers an hour. The meteorological office said on this trajectory, Bala is dangerously approaching Mauritius and it represents a threat to the Indian Ocean island nation. The radius of cyclonic winds is likely to cross the southern part of the island, and Bala is expected to pass closer to the south of the island early Tuesday morning. Hundreds of thousands of people on France's Indian Ocean island of Reunion hunkered down Indian homes under a strict lockdown on Monday as a devastating storm that has already left one dead started to rip through the territory. According to France's Meteorological Department, Meteo France, Cyclone Bala hit Reunion after moving in from the northwest, packing extreme winds.
The prefecture said that while initial damage was still moderate, one homeless person who had not taken shelter died as a result of the storm in the western settlement of St. Giles. In preparation for gusty winds that could exceed 250 kilometers per hour in the highlands, authorities hosted the violet level alert, indicating imminent danger at 6 a.m., putting all 870,000 inhabitants, including the emergency services, on strict lockdown. Reunion, known as La Réunion in French, is located east of Madagascar and has a population of almost 900,000. Authorities urge islanders to stock up on food and water and stay indoors for 36 hours. They were told not to leave home for any reason, unplug all devices, not use tap water, and only use telephone for an emergency. Expecting waves up to 13 to 15 meters high, the entire coastline was put on alert.
And those were the updates on TVS Nightline. For more news, please be sure to visit and follow our social media at tvsarawak.my. I'm Lorenzo Isaac. Thank you for watching and have a good night.
Pusat Hidupan Liar Madang adalah pusat rehabilitasi hidupan liar, antaranya burung kenyalang, landak dan rusa sambar. Bagaimanapun, kesemua haiwan tersebut masih lagi diambang ancaman. Kenapa? Semuanya dalam Suara Alam Borneo.
Cabaran lomba Rindu Go bermula dari sekarang. Go, 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 go. Iya.
Taman Perpaduan Kuching diambil namanya sempena pengiktirafan Bandaraya Kuching sebagai bandaraya perpaduan pertama di dunia. Taman ini melambangkan komuniti yang pelbagai di Sarawak. Di sini, cabaran Lomba Induk Go bermula.
Hello Malaysia, selamat menonton Lomba Rindu Go, sebuah rancangan game show realiti yang membawa aksi hebat, lasak dan penuh drama. Berlumba dengan rasa gembira dalam mengejar gelaran sebagai juara. Jadi, siapakah 3 lagi pasukan yang akan berentap minggu tu? Let's check it out.
Hai, nama kami Yoyo.
Kami Rusmi.
Keserasian, kekuatan mental dan fizikal adalah kekuatan kami.
Apa-apa saja halangan di depan akan kami redah.
Kami dari kumpulan Tempoyak, yak. Kumpulan lain pasti koyak.
Hai, saya Syafiq, penolong jutera, sukakan aktiviti lasak dan pantang dicabar.
Hai, saya Azhar, pembantu awal akademi, suka kejabaran dan bersedia untuk bersaing.
Kami, geng
Rebels!
Hai, kami Hanan.
Hai, kami Daus.
Kami dari kumpulan ED. Kami harap kami dapat buat yang terbaik untuk melawan semua para peserta yang akan bertanding nanti.
Bincang aja.
Bincang aja.
Baiklah, kami si Sabah nak mulakan perlumbaan tu. Jadi jom kita panggil ketiga-tiga pasukan kita. Pasukan yang pertama, Firdaus dan Hanan, Rusmi dan Aziah. Dan pasukan yang ketiga, Azhar dan Syafiq. Selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi.
Ya, barunya. Rusmi dan Aziah, suami isteri.
Yes.
Apa persiapan sebelum masuk game?